Welcome to Senior Insights. My name is Cynthia. Come on in, grab a seat, and we are going to talk about a famous woman today. And I'll tell you the reason why I'm going to talk about her is because I was shopping yesterday, and I went into Martin's, my favorite store, and they had books. And I got the bright idea that, wow, I think I will buy one of these books and I will read it to the community for a video, just like some of the other creators like Kentucky Life with Debbie and Debbie Sue and some other people who have been reading books or poems or short stories, whatever. I was not interested in reading a long book. So despite the fact that this was a child's book, I felt that it was very relevant to many of the things that we talk about. So that's why I chose to do it. And this video is about Miss Lillian Todd and Miss E. Lillian Todd, also known as Lillian Todd or Miss Todd. Miss Todd. She was a pioneer in early aviation. She was born in 1865 in Washington, D.C. And she died in 1937 in Pasadena, California. So she traveled all over the world because she also worked in the governor's office, I think, in Pennsylvania. But since a very little girl, she was mesmerized by the idea of flying. She wanted to fly. I'm not even sure that there were airplanes then, or very few. Aviation was really in its infancy. But she would put wings on or flaps on her arms. She would jump off sheds. She would study birds. She would study bees, anything that would fly. She would research the mechanisms that allowed them to fly. And she made many, many prototypes or models of her ideas. She was very mechanically inclined. She liked mechanics. She liked putting things together. She liked inventing things. In the storybook that I was going to read you, her grandfather played a significant role in her development and her pursuing her passions. I don't know if that's just part of the story because the story is fiction, sort of, or embellished reality, whatever you want to call it. So I'm not sure it was that, but in the story, he didn't let her get down. He would pick her up. He'd pick up her models, and he'd say, "Try again, try again." And he encouraged her, and she continued to read and learn everything she could. She continued to collect stuff so that she could create a flying machine, because she discovered that none of the things that she was doing was working, because she was trying to fly herself. So she had the bright idea that she needed to make a flying machine. So this is all as she's growing up. She did, as I said, tons and tons. None of them worked. She tried everything. None of them worked. But she had a fire in her belly, and she was not going to quit. She went to universities and tried to convince them that she should be allowed to go in the aviation classes and the mechanical classes, because she was very interested, and they denied her. She was refused. She knocked on many doors, door after door after door, and no one would take her seriously. No one would pay attention to her, and it was primarily because she was a woman looking into men's work, mechanics and airplane pilots or flying. And then finally, she found this woman. Let me see what her name was. Her name was Olivia Sage. And she was a philanthropist in New York. And she was very into women's rights and encouraging education for women. And she had inherited a lot of money from her deceased husband, who was involved in the railroad, which was a big thing then. So she took Lillian under her wing, or Lilly, and she set her up with a shop and finances so that she could work on her flying machine. In the end, I believe that Lillian hired a company, and I think the company name was, I suppose it doesn't really matter, but she hired someone to, Whitman Brothers, to create the plane that she had designed. It was a biplane. It was held together with canvas and twine and nothing terribly exciting. Piano wire is what it was. It was muslin and army duck fabric and piano wire. So the plane was built, the flying machine was finally built, and she was convinced, she knew that it was going to fly. She knew that she was going to be successful. And so she went to Madison Square Garden, has this festival. They have an aviation field, and they had to have a festival where they try out different things. And so various aviators and airplanes were going to be there showing their inventions. None of the people were successful in flying their planes, their inventions. But her plane flew. They call it a hop. It didn't fly a lot. It flew probably 20 feet. But it got off the ground, and it flew. And it landed without crashing. It didn't fall. It was able to be landed. Now, the kicker was Lillian was not able to fly her own plane because she was a woman. They wouldn't give her a license. So what happened was this he was very famous airline pilot from France, I think his name was Didier Mason. And he flew the plane. She was really annoyed and very angry and disappointed. But she continued to work. I think she did have one flight, and that was it. She never pursued building airplanes anymore. But she was active in mechanical engineering. She was active in government. She was a typewriter copy holder. She invented a folding table. She invented a solar-powered cannon, a sundial, and an alien harp device that you could attach to a tree. So she didn't give up on her mechanics or creating things or inventing things. She still was denied. She tried again to get a permit, and she was still denied that. Now, keep in mind, she was the first successful plane, at least in Garden City. So she represents one of the earliest women in aviation history. She started the Junior Aero Club, which is a club, of course, for young children, not young children, but children who are interested in aviation, both male and female. She did cross over into design and engineering when it was very uncommon, so she was a pioneer there. Her efforts in promoting the airline industry shows a recognition that spreading knowledge really did matter. And it wasn't just a matter of just a successful flight. So I thought that she was really very interesting, but the whole point of why I thought it was interesting, well, first of all, I think it's an interesting story because of all the obstacles that she overcame. And how about the obstacles that we overcome every single day? We're overcoming something. And what about the dreams, especially that we had when we were young? Most of us were able to achieve them because we pushed and we strived. And even now, we're still dreaming, and we're still striving, and we're still succeeding. She's just pretty special. There were other female pilots after her, and so she was definitely a pioneer. I'm not going to tell you the other women who did get air pilot licenses, but she dreamed about flying, and she did it, and she helped others to do it. Now, that was going to be the end of my story, all about dreaming and following through on your plans, making your plans. And that was going to be it. I got to tell you this, she worked in the U.S. Patent Office because she was an inventor. She built and patented several devices. I think I already said that. Curiosity doesn't retire, and it doesn't wait for permission. You just do it and do it and do it. So, anyway, so that was going to be the end of it. But then when I went to bed last night to play my games, and I had already recorded this video, but it was pretty bad. But I was flipping through, all those shorts and those little small videos. And who do I see come up but Amelia Earhart? Now, I'm not going to go into Amelia Earhart too much, except for the fact that they have been searching for her aircraft for like 98 years, trying to find out where she went down. They've always suspected that her plane went down in a lagoon in Nikomoro Island, which is in Kiribati. Where the heck is that? I have no idea. And they're pretty sure that they have seen images of her plane. Now, they're actually very excited this time, but this isn't the first time that they found these images in that same spot. They actually found them a couple years after she went missing. And I don't know how hard they looked at it, but they think that, it got covered with drifting sand and uncovered and, whatever. So they are going back, I think, in November, and they're going to explore that scene, but they're very confident that that's probably exactly what it was. So the moral of this video is follow your dreams. Don't give up. If you find you can't do something, keep trying and trying and trying, and you will. You'll be successful. And come back tomorrow, and we'll see what we can talk about tomorrow that's more inspiring. I will see you tomorrow, and Tomorrow is the board meeting. Make sure you come.